So our second pitch, as we are setting that one up, is going to be from Tanya Mack. And Tanya is going to talk to us about her idea for School Community Champion. Tanya, whenever you're ready, go for it.
Good evening. I'm just a mom looking for a solution specifically for boys, like my son, to be able to excel in school and in life. Imagine this, your little guy starting elementary at age 5, tested with a verbal IQ of 117, above average range, but struggling to fit into the classroom norms, including completing work. And if only we had that someone that had the capacity for positive attention to encourage performance. This little guy is my son. In my case, he is an African-American boy in the public school system with an IEP and diagnosed late in his school career with autism. So, how do we move the needle to get a breakthrough for students like mine? We need change, and this is what it looks like. I was going to share a video, but I thought I'd describe one of my favorite movies, Freedom Writers, and there's a scene where the teacher holds one of her African-American students outside of class. She's recognized at this point his potential and refused to accept any excuse for him to fail. She says, as simply, I see you, and you are not failing. In the public school systems, for every 100 students, data says there are 25 students that require IEPs. And of this, there is 80% likelihood Black children are most likely impacted due to a combination of economic and social environmental causes. You do the math. But from my personal experience, there have been greater negative impacts to African-American boys like my son when it comes to school performance. I believe in the old school saying, it takes a village to raise a child. How can we get back to this old school way of thinking and doing? Our teachers are working hard, very hard. How can we help our teachers, as well as families and the community as a whole? I believe that students are more likely to fail academically and fall behind when they have not been fully engaged in the learning process, especially African-American boys. But more often than not, their behavioral responses in the school learning environment gets criminalized and cripples their learning. We would all agree that the purpose of school is for the student to learn. Bottom line, students that are not labeled as a good kid get left behind in school, and as a result are not set up for success to excel in the classroom or in their educational journey. This is unfortunate. Now, imagine a trusted adult in the school building, which I propose as a school community champion, to provide one-to-one positive attention to students with an identified need. These would be regular trained volunteers who commit to a designated amount of time. The champion would serve as a vital resource to help boost academic supports, especially for African-American boys who may struggle in the classroom. This would be a holistic benefit to the child, parent, teacher, school leader, and community. The student community champion would be in place during the school day to serve as a true advocate for the student and work closely with the parent and teacher to improve student academic performance and motivation to excel as a student. Additionally, this could help teachers with IEP implementation strategies to best serve these students. This is not just an Ohio issue. This is an issue across the United States in both public and charter schools. What if we in the state of Ohio could start this here and be a powerful model? This could be game-changing for our teachers in our schools, for the district. Imagine boosting report cards, and the state to lead the model that others can follow. Thank you.
All right, all right. Thank you, Tanya. Wow, that was another powerful idea. All right, we would love to hear from our panel. Any questions, comments you have? I think I see Superintendent Wright moving to unmute herself. There we
Hello.
go.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you so much for the pitch. Great job. I think one of the questions that I have, thinking about an individual that's working with students in a one-to-one scenario, what recommendations or what thoughts would you have around sustainability?
So I think of it in this way, that it could be a 1-to-1 or it could be a 3-to-1 ratio. It just all depends on the number of trained volunteers that we could have, which can come from anywhere in the community. So think about Cincinnati has 52 neighborhoods and you've got schools within those neighborhoods. What better than having someone from a church within that community, or someone who could be a retired teacher who would be willing to come in and invest that time to provide some form of support and assistance within the classroom. No different than I would think of, anyone who may choose to volunteer for, an organization, YMCA, or a boys club. It would be the same idea that these people would be trained volunteers that would hopefully, be willing to serve in whatever capacity from a time perspective. So I don't want to limit it to that. But I would think about the sustainability being no different than a big brother, big sister's mentor. So they do recruiting all the time, and they have a sustainable process. They've been around for a very long time.
Thank you very much.
Great. Miss Bolton, did you have a
Yes,
question?
I love this idea. I think it's great because it's warm, and it's really what our kids need is individual attention. The only thing I'd kind of add, I think the superintendent's right about sustainability, but I'd really also add, I've noticed in my work with wordplay some years ago that we don't get enough time to dwell on our students' gifts. And if somehow part of the mentoring could also be matching, not just that this kid maybe doesn't have as much support as he needs, but also if we could start to match some of the gifts that the kids have with a particular person. I can remember Daniel Manera making sure that somebody over at West High actually got a trombone because there was a musical interest. So I would just add that as not only the kids that have a particular need, but indeed how we could match all the talents that we have in our communities with specialized gifts for those kids, because that's stuff that teachers unfortunately just don't have the time always to dwell on. But great idea.
Yes, thank you. And I took that note, matching the talent.
Yeah, what a great idea. Well, again, Tanya, thank you for sharing your idea. I hope you go enjoy this chat. There's so many people enthusiastic about this idea. You might have your first volunteers coming through in
Thank
this
you.
chat here. Thank you, Tanya, and thanks for those comments from our panel.